Hey everyone, ready to ditch those cheesy self-help cliches?
I'm game if you are.
All right, then let's do it. Today we're diving into something a bit different.
A bit different. How about refreshingly blunt?
Okay, you got me there. We're tackling Así es la puta vida.
Which, for everyone who doesn't speak fluent Spanish, translates to,
This is the fucking life.
see? Told you blunt.
It's by Spanish YouTuber Jordi Wild, and let me tell you, the title's not clickbait.
No, it's not. This book is packed with insightful,
And hilarious.
definitely hilarious observations about, navigating this crazy thing we call life.
Exactly. So if you're tired of that sugar-coated self-help fluff and want a more realistic, research-backed take,
Emphasis on the realistic.
then you're in the right place. So Jordi Wild, big YouTuber, but his book, I gotta say, really impressed me.
Yeah, he doesn't mess around. Like, take the whole law of attraction thing.
Oh, you mean just wishing your way to success?
Yeah.
Yeah, he throws some serious shade on that whole concept.
Dismantles it, actually. Instead, he presents this idea of get this, the eye of the tiger effect.
Okay, now that's what I'm talking about. So what exactly is the eye of the tiger effect?
Well, picture this. You're Rocky Balboa.
Love those movies.
Right. So that iconic theme song kicks in, gets your heart pumping, and suddenly...
I can conquer the world.
Exactly. It's about tapping into your inner drive, that deep down motivation to crush your goals, especially when you're facing setbacks.
So instead of wishing for things to magically fall into place, you gotta crank up that internal soundtrack.
Become your own hype man. And the best part, Wilde doesn't just rely on this catchy metaphor, he backs it up with actual scientific research, like studies on music and athletic performance.
Okay, so you're telling me science says my workout playlist is doing more than just making me look cool.
Exactly. There's research showing that listening to high-tempo, strong beat music can actually increase your motivation and help you power through, even when your body's screaming for a break.
That makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
I know when I've got the right playlist going, I can definitely push myself further. But okay, let's talk luck. Surely luck plays a role in success, right?
Wilde would argue that blind luck, just random chance, it's mostly a myth.
Whoa, okay, then what's the alternative? How do we get lucky?
You hack it. Instead of passively waiting for good fortune, Wilde believes you got to get proactive, create those conditions for luck to strike.
Hack your luck. So what's that look like in real life?
Okay, imagine this. You've got a big opportunity coming up. Instead of crossing your fingers and hoping for the best, you get to work.
You're out there networking, refining your skills.
Exactly. You're putting in the effort, constantly learning, making connections. By doing all of that, you're essentially increasing the odds that when that lucky break comes along,
You're ready to grab it with both hands. So it's not just chance, it's about being prepared and putting yourself out there.
nailed it. And it's not just about outward action either. Wilde also gets into the power of the mind, specifically the placebo effect, and how it can impact everything from confidence to creativity.
Wait, placebo effect, as in tricking yourself into believing something's real even when it isn't. Yeah.
It might sound counterintuitive, but it's about the power our beliefs have on our actions and ultimately our results. Wilde even talks about this study where researchers found a connection between, get this, the smell of cinnamon and increased creativity.
Seriously, cinnamon, like the spice.
Yep. In this study, some participants were exposed to the scent of cinnamon while they were doing these creative tasks, and others weren't.
So what happened?
Those who were told, and this is key, those who were told that the cinnamon would boost their creativity, they actually performed better.
So it's like the power of suggestion. They believed it,
Yeah.
and that belief influenced their output.
Exactly. It really underscores how much our beliefs can shape our reality. Remember Dumbo with his magic feather?
Oh yeah, thought he couldn't fly without it.
Exactly. He didn't actually need the feather to fly. He needed the belief that the feather gave him.
It was all in his head.
Which is kind of Wilde's point. We all have those magic feathers within us. It's about tapping into that belief, that inner strength to achieve our goals.
So it's like we've got these untapped reserves of magic just waiting to be unleashed. But let's shift gears for a sec. We've talked about the good stuff, but Wilde doesn't shy away from the not-so-glamorous aspects of life either, especially in the age of social media, right?
Oh, absolutely not. In fact, he dives headfirst into the dark side of our hyper-connected world.
And what lurks in those digital shadows?
Well, he doesn't sugarcoat it. Addiction, narcissism, this constant pressure to project an image of perfection, it's all fair game.
Yeah, it's easy to get caught up in that comparison trap when you're bombarded with everyone else's highlight reel 24/7.
And it's not just anecdotal, Wild backs it up with hard data statistics on screen time, the correlation with mental health issues. It's all there.
I mean, we've all felt it, that urge to refresh, to scroll just a little bit longer, even when we know we should be doing something else.
It's like we're wired for it now, and Wild actually makes this really interesting comparison between social media platforms and casinos.
Okay, I'm listening.
He argues that they're both designed to keep us hooked, playing on those same psychological triggers.
Because who doesn't love the thrill of a big win, right?
Yeah.
Even if it's just virtual dopamine.
Exactly. Think about it. The notifications, the likes, the algorithm showing you exactly what it knows will keep you engaged. It's all about triggering that reward center in your brain.
It's like those flashing lights and sounds on a slot machine.
Spot on. And just like in a casino, it's easy to get trapped in that cycle of chasing the next win, the next viral post, the next hit of validation. But it's never really enough, is it?
It's a recipe for feeling inadequate, always striving for something more. And then there's the whole other beast to contend with the online negativity.
Oh, don't even get me started on the trolls.
The keyboard warriors, the haters hiding behind their screens.
Yeah.
How does Wild suggest we deal with those digital downers?
Well, he actually dives into the psychology of it all, trying to understand what makes these trolls tick.
Because sometimes it feels like their only mission in life is to spread misery.
And to some extent, that's kind of true. Weil points out that a lot of that negativity stems from their own unhappiness, their own insecurities. It's that whole misery loves company thing.
So basically, hurt people hurt people.
Exactly. He has this great line. He says, "A person truly happy doesn't spend 5 seconds calling you bald or fat."
Ouch. But so true. So what's the best approach then? Ignore them. Block them.
It's definitely a good starting point. Wild emphasizes that you can't please everyone, and trying to win over these trolls is a losing battle. You're going to face criticism no matter what you do, so you might as well just accept it and move on.
That's easier said than done, especially when it feels personal. But I see what you mean about focusing your energy elsewhere.
Exactly. Focus on building your own supportive community, surrounding yourself with people who lift you up instead of dragging you down. And that actually ties into another key point Wild makes. It's not just about who you engage with online, it's about the company you keep in real life, too.
Yeah, he talks about the impact of our social circles on our habits and attitudes.
And not just attitudes, he even gets into how it affects our physical well-being. He brings up some fascinating research from scientists like Nicholas Christakis, who studied the contagiousness of things like obesity.
Wait, are you saying that our friends can actually influence our weight?
That's exactly what Christakis found. His research showed that having obese friends significantly increased a person's own risk of becoming obese. And it's not just weight. Other studies found similar patterns with smoking, happiness, even political views.
Wow, it's like our social circles are shaping us more than we realize.
It really highlights the power of our social environment. And the good news is, Wild argues, we have a say in shaping that environment.
By choosing who we allow to influence us.
Exactly. Just like we curate our online feeds, we can curate our offline lives, surrounding ourselves with people who inspire us, motivate us, and support our growth. He even mentions a study that found we're actually more likely to mirror the behavior of our friends than our spouses.
That's pretty wild when you think about it. I mean, we choose our friends, but families, well, family.
It goes to show you the impact of those daily interactions, the subtle ways we influence and are influenced by the people we spend our time with.
It really makes you stop and think, doesn't it?
Yeah.
About who we're letting into our inner circle, both online and offline. But it's not just about who we surround ourselves with, right? Wild also talks a lot about the importance of personal growth, of always evolving.
Absolutely. And he's a big believer in not just accepting change, but actively embracing it.
Yeah, he doesn't buy into that whole find yourself and never change philosophy, does he?
Nope, not at all. For him, it's all about continuous learning, always being open to new perspectives and experiences. He even shares some of his own personal stories about how his views have evolved over time. Like, he talks about how his dad went from being completely tech-averse to becoming a total social media junkie.
No, that's what I call a plot twist. It's inspiring to see that kind of adaptability, proving it's never too late to learn and grow. But okay, let's be real for a minute. Life isn't all sunshine and personal growth, is it? We're going to hit those rough patches, those moments where it feels like everything's falling apart.
That's life, right? And Wild is pretty upfront about that. He doesn't try to sugarcoat the tough stuff.
So how does he suggest we deal with those inevitable curveballs?
Well, he reminds us that those difficult moments, those challenges, they're all part of the journey. It's not about achieving some kind of constant state of bliss. It's about learning to navigate the ups and downs.
It's about building that resilience, that ability to bounce back from
Right.
setbacks.
Exactly. And he emphasizes the importance of finding humor, even in those tough moments. Sometimes you just gotta laugh, even if it's through tears.
It's about finding those glimmers of light even on the darkest days. So if life throws you lemons, make a margarita.
Pretty much. Wilde also talks about the importance of perspective, remembering that even when things are tough, this too shall pass. He encourages us to focus on the good, even when it feels like we're surrounded by negativity.
Shifting that mindset, focusing on what we can control instead of dwelling on what we can't. And that actually reminds me of another point Wilde makes that really resonated with me, that whole pressure to find your passion.
Oh, yeah, he has a really interesting take on that.
It's like we're all supposed to have this one driving force, this singular passion that defines our entire existence.
And if we haven't found it yet, well, then we're somehow failing at life. But Wilde challenges that whole idea. He argues that this relentless pursuit of the one big thing can actually stop us from appreciating the simple joys of everyday life.
It's like we're so busy searching for that pot of gold at the end of the rainbow that we miss all the beautiful scenery along the way.
Exactly. Maybe it's not about finding this grand, all-consuming passion. Maybe it's about finding fulfillment in the present moment, appreciating those small moments of joy that we often overlook.
Savoring those everyday experiences, those little things that make us smile. A good cup of coffee, a heartfelt conversation, a walk in nature.
Exactly. Finding joy in the ordinary instead of constantly chasing after something extraordinary.
So as we wrap up our deep dive into Jordi Wilde's This Is the Fucking Life, what are some key takeaways we can apply to our own lives?
Well, I think the biggest one is that life is messy and unpredictable. It's not always going to be pretty or perfect.
That's okay.
Yeah, it's about accepting that chaos, those ups and downs as part of the journey, and remembering that within that chaos, we still have the power to choose how we show up, how we respond to challenges.
We can't always control what life throws our way, but we can control our reactions, our mindset. And ultimately, we can choose who we allow to influence us, both online and offline. We can build those supportive communities, both in person and virtually, that help us grow and thrive.
And hey, maybe ditch those magic feathers and realize we've had the power to create our own damn magic all along.
Love that.
Yeah.
Create your own magic. That's a pretty great motto for navigating this wild, messy, beautiful thing we call life. And on that note, we'll leave you with this final thought from Jordi Wilde. Don't just accept change, embrace it. What small change can you make today to step into a bolder, more authentic version of yourself? Something to ponder as you go about your day. Until next time, keep diving deep.